Before we get started with the main video, I want to tell you that there are time codes in the description of this video because I cover so much gossip. This is gossip that has dropped post Next Gen NYC finale. Enjoy. So we're going to start this video with a bomb, and then just know that there's more bombs like this coming throughout this whole 20-minute video.
The infamous Next Gen NYC star was caught on tape doing illegal activities. Shocker. There's a video circulating right now where Charlie is cooking with friends, asking questions about it playfully.
Per parts baking soda.
That's a good question for our research in
so this is
How much?
I already showed you this video of Carturin tied to a wheelchair and cooking crack apparently in an air fryer.
Right. If you thought it was weird, Charles, it's going to get weirder.
That seemed weird.
In the same townhome where the crypto kidnapping took place. You know, where Charlie is seen in the background as a guy gets taken away in handcuffs while he's in a bathrobe. This is just a small peek into the eyes of what they were doing in that home. This is about Charlie and the fact that he is not only at the scene of the crime, doing actual crimes, but he just seems like an all-over dangerous person. The question is, why does Charlie seem to cling to every crypto scammer within a 5-mile radius in the tri-state area? William Plessy, John Woeltz, Omar, I'm sure there's more. Allegedly, he was paid off by Plessy and Woeltz for bringing girls to their townhouse, usually going into the box to pick up 17 to 19-year-old girls, allegedly, and was paid multiple thousands of dollars a night for doing this, allegedly. I can't believe this person has a platform or is on TV. He really should just be running and hiding at this point. And honestly, it's not an if, it's a when. More information is going to come to light. So stay tuned.
Hi, you guys. So you may not be aware of this, but in the Patreon, I dropped these like quick audios following Next Gen NYC when gossip would come up about one of the characters. I also did a deep dive on all the cast members, and I think I got most of them bang on awesome before all the Bravo press came out and kind of like changed the narrative about the kids. And of course, the only one I got off was Georgia because I was surprised. I thought she was a Nepo baby from McCann family, from McCann Erickson, because of her job in doing like branding and events, although they really only show the event side of her business on the show. So anyway, if you want to know more about Next Gen NYC, there's a lot in the Patreon about this. And of course, we talked about, you know, the gossip when the show was just being developed, that one of the cast members was not wanting the show to go in a particular direction. They didn't want Bravo celebrity kids on the show. And they wanted the show to be about real New York kids who are wealthy or like interesting, and they wanted it centered around like a club scene. And suddenly, I guess the Bravo executives were like, well, we kind of like that idea, but we want to see some Bravo kids on it because it'll guarantee viewership, and they know how to do it. And when they said they were bringing on Gia and Ariana Biermann, Charlie Zakkour and some of his friends, which he had brought into the show, didn't want to continue and quit. And Charlie was kind of upset because he was like, this is kind of inauthentic to what Next Gen NYC was called a different name, was supposed to be about, which was like a real New York kid experience versus, transplants bringing drama that's fake. Anyway, this is why you see Charlie Zakkour several times on the show saying, I'm not going to fake fight. I'm not going to be over the top dramatic like you are, and seems in some scenes disinterested because he's like not into this whole Bravo angle. Now, Next Gen NYC was a huge success, and they did end up making Charlie and Brooks, anchor cast members. And so in a way, Charlie represents like the true New York kid experience, and Brooks represents the Bravo celebrity type, kid experience. And I guess that was where they met in the middle, but a bunch of people quit in the process. Anyway, at the time that the Reddit was dropped, we didn't know what cast member made the big stink. It turns out it was Charlie and some others that are no longer on the show. They quit. And if you read the Reddit, you know that the two characters that really pushed him over the edge was Ariana Biermann and Giudice when they joined the cast, and the producers tried to sneak it initially. Now, I grew up in Manhattan from 6th grade to 9th grade in the whole scene there. I went to Nightingale Bamford. You know, you probably saw that on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 2 reunion. I talk about it. I think it's part 2. Anyway, the point is that I know what the kids were worried about because New York kids are pretty snobby about anyone who lives outside of Manhattan because they don't see them as real New Yorkers. And it's a real thing. It's a stigma and it exists. And they really think it's like ick for people who aren't part of that. So I think with Brooks and Riley, the people saw them as like, well, they're transplants in New York, but they do have some New York energy about them and they've been there for a few years. So they had the energy, they had the vibe. But with Gia and Ariana, they didn't see them at all as New York kids. They didn't understand the energy of the place. But I think Bravo believed they made good TV, so it didn't matter. But it really upset the group that it wasn't going to be this like authentic thing. Now, I kind of enjoyed the dynamic of Gia being a New Jersey person, kind of an outsider being brought in. And I also really liked Ariana's kind of making it in the big city storyline, which was really fun, especially given that her boyfriend's family is like $1 billion family, the Zaxby chicken family. So all of that made it, I thought, added a nice dynamic. But I could see why the kids in the beginning would be like, hell no. So now that we got that out of the way, there's been a lot of tea that's spilt over the last week about Next Gen NYC, and I wanted to share it on here. First and foremost, obviously, we all figured out who Omar was, who was dating Georgia. And it turns out he's a scandalous dude. And I truly believe he was trying to take advantage of Charlie Zakkour as a sucker, and probably Georgia too, in a way, maybe even to get access to Charlie, who knows, based on who Charlie's dad is. His dad is a banker, and he put a lot of huge deals together, like actually one for Comcast and NBC. He's from Lebanon. Now, before you get excited, like maybe that's why Charlie got casted, this was a super long time ago, the NBC deal. So let's start with this soundbite that Georgia dropped on Radio Andy, and then we'll work our way to Omar.
I know firsthand, I can't speak for Ava and Amira because I don't know if I really talked to him about this prior, but I know Charlie was definitely like pressed about it. I think he felt very like blindsided by the additions and like blah, blah, blah. And like, honestly, he was not saying the nicest things about the housewife kids prior to meeting them. I don't know.
What did he say?
He's like, I don't want to be on a flyer with them. Like, they're tacky, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I don't think he like had it out for anyone in particular. I think he was just sort of Charlie being Charlie, just like, I don't know. He's sort of just like, he has a tendency to look down on people, I think.
So the Reddit gossip was true. Charlie was one of the guys who was giving Bravo a hard time, and many of his friends, who I actually know who they were, that he was going to have on the show quit. There it is. It's true. Georgia dropped some renderings of the nightclub she wants to do. She wants to have a private club on the top floor that you can't buy your way into. She selects you. And then the other 2 floors would be like, you know, nightclub typical things. She's thinking a Berlin train station is the vibe. Here's another one for Club. And this one, I guess, is where you'd get food. She said that she's incorporated the bowling alley in the private club part, which is on the top floor for 500 people. Would you go to this? To me, you guys, I like the smallest nightclub with the best music, where you barely can get in. Just saying. Okay, so let's talk about Omar Zaki, who is Georgia's boyfriend all the way up until the last show, where he and her get in a fight in Singapore, and he leaves her in Singapore to try to get home. And he goes home, he ghosts her, he has his assistant pack up her stuff from his apartment and leaves it at Charlie Zakkour's place. All right, well, first of all, in 2019, he was charged with SEC fraud charges. So Omar, while he was in Yale University, brought together 11 investors to invest in a fund that he was putting together, in air quotes. This was very similar to what he discusses with Charlie Zakkour on Next Gen NYC that he wants to do with him in crypto. Well, this fund, he puts together fake documents and presents almost like a Ponzi scheme situation to these 11 guys, but he takes the con too far. And he tries to entice two of the investors to go in on another project with him. So the investors were demanding more intel on this additional investment. He said no, and then he gave them their money back, and this made them sort of set their alarm bells off. Anyway, this house of cards falls down, and it comes out to the SEC that he's committed fraud, that he's made this like whole thing up, even though he's a Yale grad, and I'm sure leveraging his Yale-ness, right? So they fine him $25,000. I think he has to give back the majority of the money or all of the money, and they tell him you can't practice in this field anymore, which is, I think, what he was looking to do. Now, he, I think, majored in physics at Yale. Yeah, here it is from 2019. Zaki, who graduated from Yale last year with a bachelor's degree in economics and physics, there you go, has not admitted nor denied the allegations made. He actually didn't have to do that either in the SEC settlement. He just got fined, paid it, and then had to pay back some of the money, and he wasn't allowed to do this type of investment stuff anymore, which is why it's so shocking that he's trying to do it on TV. Now, many of the people who have already covered this pointed out that Bradley Bondi was his lawyer, which was pretty impressive because Bradley is related to Pam Bondi. And what was even funnier is it looks like Omar and Charlie went to some sort of event with him on Next Gen NYC. Maybe he'll get pardoned by President Trump. Zaki, who told investors he managed $3 million, raised $1.7 million from 11 clients from January 2017 to February 2018 by marketing a biotechnology trading strategy. He pretended he had like some expert algorithm. When people don't know what the hell they're investing in, people just take so much advantage of them. So back in 2019, when this all goes down, all this press comes out about him as a Yale grad while in school, committing fraud in the SEC. It's so audacious. It sounds like it should be a movie. And he's like, uh-oh, now what do? I can't practice in what I was supposed to practice. I don't have interest in physics or economics, which I guess was his thing. And now he's like, how do I solve this problem? Let me go into crypto, where it's, anon in some cases, and it's, the dark side, and it's decentralized, and it's against the man, and I'll fit in better with these characters who a lot of them are very smart. So he creates a pseudonym, which is Oxbrain Jar, and he starts creating crypto companies in a way under this pseudonym. And the thing is that the two companies that he's involved with, and let me read this to you, Composable Finance wasn't his only venture. Zaki was also connected to projects like Warp Finance and Force DAO, both of which attracted attention for their bold goals and in some cases security incidents that resulted in significant losses for users. So see those two ones, Warp Finance and Force DAO, they were allegedly hacked, and something like $8 million was lost in the crypto to do with them. And a lot of people think it was him and it was an inside job. And in crypto land, there's not much you can do about it once something like that goes down. So he said the reason he did it was because at the time that all this stuff came out about the fraud with the SEC, his name was in all the papers, so he couldn't work as himself. And so he had no choice but to go into the crypto, world. And be anon because he wanted to be able to make money and he couldn't do it any other way. But some people are like, you're not really supposed to be doing any of this, even in the crypto landscape. And like, it's really unusual that both your companies were hacked and millions of dollars were stolen. And some people who are experts at crypto whistleblowing believe he might have been involved in that and pocketed that money. And since we don't know how he has a $10,000 a month apartment. Now, what's cool is an ex-girlfriend has decided to do a video series on Omar where she's going to expose him. Let me play you some of the latest clips.
Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for. My ex is Omar Zaki from Next Gen NYC. We dated for a little over 2 years, and he did to me what he did to Georgia, but worse. And I should have made this video 2 years ago when we broke up, but I was like, oh, I don't want to look like the bitter ex, yada, yada, yada. And so I didn't, and come to see he's now doing the same thing to other girls. So now I'm done being silent, and I'm going to put it all out there. And we've got everything from like hostage situations in Dubai, strapping money to girls and shipping them to different countries, him flying me out to other countries with girls he's cheating on me with. I mean, evicted from compounds, everything. Oh, and fun fact, me and Georgia were not the only girls. There was someone before me named Virginia that this also happened to, and she took a baseball bat to all of his fucking computers and smashed it all in, so stay tuned. Just before I continue, because it's like the biggest thing in my comments section, there is a genuine reason why he wears that suit all the time. There is a genuine reason why it doesn't fit. And no, I will never ever talk about that on my page as long as I live. It's something deeply personal and delicate to him, and I'm not in the business of bashing the way other people look. I'm not here to make like malicious jabs. I'm just here to tell my story, and if that makes someone else look bad, then behave better. Okay, let's get into it. So I met Omar at a nightclub. It was my very first week living in New York. I knew no one, had no friends. I go to this club, and this man is sitting there with all these bottles in front of him, and he's going like this to me. And so like, I'm like, oh my gosh. My dumbass goes on over there, talks to this guy, like now I know, like immediate red flag, right? And so I go over there, we're flirting, we're chatting, I end up at his penthouse, and then every single night that week we go on a date, talk about a love bomb. But I'm like, oh, this is amazing, he likes me. So we go on dates every single night for 3 weeks, and then he goes, hey, I'm leaving for Europe for 2 months. Would you want to come with my company? Pretty much just like drop everything in your life, drop everything you're doing, and just come to Europe with me. After knowing this man for 3 weeks, and he never even told me his last name, so what does my dumbass do? I say, of course. My friends and family were not okay with this. They were like, who is this man? We can't even Google him. And then finally I get his last name, and everyone Googles him, and they're like, they see all the SEC stuff. They're like, Shannon, no, like, who, this is a criminal, like, whatever. But I was like, no, he has a legitimate business. Like, so, and I met the people in his company. So next thing you know, I am on a flight to my very first one to Valencia, Spain. And holy shit, so much went down here. So I arrive in Valencia and he's nowhere to be found. So let's start there. He's not even there and he's not reachable. So I am stranded. I don't speak Spanish. I'm in Spain. I can't figure out how to get to the apartment or the Airbnb we were staying in. Can't figure out how to do Wi-Fi. Can't figure out anything. No one speaks English. We're in it's like a small city in Spain, and he is nowhere to be found. So I'm low-key stranded in Valencia, Spain. This, by the way, isn't even like the stranded story. Like, that's Dubai, and you will hear about that a little later. But yeah, so I'm here, and finally 2 days later, after I can't communicate with my family, like nothing is working, and I'm literally just MIA in a different country. He rolls up, just hungover as all fuck, from Paris, and is like, oh, I'm so sorry, babe, I'm so sorry, and then immediately gets to work, and it's just this absolute drinking cigarette fest. Oh my god, it was what we did to our bodies in this world tour that we went on for 2 years is not okay. But yeah, so this is, I guess, the start to my Valencia series, where in Valencia we got evicted from a compound pretty much. We had to damage government property. It was pretty crazy. Oh, and before I move on to the next part of Valencia, I found out he left me there and arrived a day late because he was partying with girls and hooking up with them and missed his flight. And that's why I was there stranded. But I had no idea until someone told me everything. Short videos. So this will be my last short video just to finish the Valencia chapter, and then I'll do like a long story time for like each country, like some long video. I just thought that would be like annoying to have to sit there, but I guess this is more annoying, so I'm listening. So anyways, our last night in Valencia, we throw a banger of a party, and like I wish, so I literally am gonna have my parents ship me my old phone because that's where all of this is, like all this footage is. And like I'm gonna have to be very selective and like blur faces out. I don't know. Or maybe not show any footage, or maybe wait till someone invites me on a podcast. I don't know. I'm not trying to like fully ruin everyone's careers here. So gonna have to think about that. But I mean, like, holy shit, the footage from this party is fucking insane. We throw a banger, and it's just like the four of us, by the way. Last night in the compound, the next morning, shit show. So it's literally like 1 minute before we have to check out, and we all wake up. We're all like disheveled. We're like, holy fuck, everyone's suitcases and clothes are everywhere. I mean, laptops, computers everywhere. I mean, the whole house was an ashtray, literally. I mean, lampshades were ashtrays. I mean, it was bad. There's just heads of broccoli everywhere. Don't know why. Like cauliflower just floating in the pool. Like I don't even know what happened. I don't know what happened at all, but we were just going nuts. We were just being wild animals. So this place looks wild, right? We don't know where all of our things are. We're just running around. Like I don't even have my contacts in. The landlord is downstairs screaming at us in Spanish. Like, you gotta go. Like, I mean, that's what we're assuming he's saying, screaming at us in Spanish. And we're kind of pulling the whole like, okay, like we don't understand Spanish. So we're kind of like buying us some time until one of our friends comes downstairs and starts speaking Spanish. So then he starts losing his shit at us, threatening to call the police. He's like literally on his phone saying, I'm calling the police. You got to get out of here. So we're just sprinting around this house. He's literally like on the phone with the police. We're throwing things into this tiny ass little European car. There's four of us. It only fits 2 people in suitcases. Now we've got 4 people in suitcases, piling everyone in. Like we literally look like clowns. We are squished in this car, like completely, like it's so bad. And we have to rush to a business meeting that Omar had. And so we're driving, we're like literally being chased out of the compound by this landlord. It was so bad. So we finally pull up to like where this business meeting is. Omar has his shoes on the wrong feet. He's just like limping over to this man like that. We like as he just falls out of this clown car to enter a meeting. Like it was such a shit show. Like it was truly insane. So we then go, the meeting's over, we go to our next adventure, and we need to rent a car. It was at this point in time, I've now been with this man for 5 weeks, and I finally learned he's not even 25 years old yet. Now that's on me. He just looked older. I assumed he was at least my age. Nope, he's 24, so he can't rent a car. So now we have like his assistant signing for the car, and I'm assuming, okay, he can't rent a car, but he can at least drive one. Wrong again. All of a sudden, we're in the parking garage of the place that we rented the car from. All the people are watching him drive this car through the parking garage to come pick me up. And he takes the side view mirror right off the car. I mean, just destroys the side view mirror, like gone. Already crashes the car. So then we're like, oh my God, get out of the driver's seat. So then I get in the driver's seat, and it was so this car was already destroyed, right? So now I'm driving up the coast. I don't speak Spanish. All the signs are in Spanish. I don't know the kilometer to mile per hour conversion, so no idea what the speed limit is, and we don't have Easy Pass or money for tolls, so we're just ducking every single time there's a toll. This was for 4 hours up the coast to Barcelona.
Now, she is very sweet, so show your support to her. But I will tell you something, which is she says that she went to Singapore with him, and I think he might have even left her in Dubai, like what happened with Georgia and the previous girlfriend. So there's like a serial behavior here. But strapping cash to women, I'd say there's something deeper going on here, and sounds like money laundering to me. Here's some receipts she dropped of their relationship. Ariana Biermann went on Giudice's podcast and said she doesn't have a DUI and kind of like doesn't understand where all this stuff is coming from, really. I mean, you know. The outlet reports that she pleaded guilty to reckless driving and possession and use of drug-related objects. However, other charges, including DUI, were dropped by prosecutors. So, sort of a win. I'm happy for her. I hope she learned her lesson. So the entire cast got together to watch Next Gen NYC's finale, except for Charlie and Georgia. I'll leave that there. Now, I'm not going to say anything about Ava Dash because, frankly, everything we saw about her on Next Gen NYC was a lie. Damon Dash is not rich. Damon Dash has, 10 million or something in tax liability. He's not investing in anything. He can't treat her like a princess. She got evicted from her apartment. She had 4 roommates. She's been with the guy that, we don't see on the show, I think, while she was shooting the entire show. Like, Ava Dash did not give you guys any of her real life at all. And it's a shame because what a missed opportunity. I don't know what to say, but yeah. Brooks Marks has officially launched his line under his name away from his mother, Meredith Marks, and he's got loads of products he's put out, so you should go check them out. All right, I think we'll end it there. There's so much more to say, but so little time. As soon as more intel that's significant drops, I promise I'll be back with a video, probably a lot shorter because we're caught up now.